So we're on round 7, and the Magical Mystery Tour, the World Series, gives us one more curveball before we go to some iconic tracks. So let's take that plane from Ohio. Let's go over the ocean. Let's go in to the middle of Europe, and let's go to Belgium. Because tonight, the Race Anywhere World Series is here for round 7 at Zolder, live here on Absolute Sim Racing. Good evening, everybody. My name is Craig King. As you can see on the cameras, it's Steve Proudly once again. And like I was saying, the last of these curveballs, as I like to call them, I call them curveballs, but personally, I love them. We've been to Okayama, we've been to Donington, we went to Spa, then we went to Mid-Ohio. We're here in Zolder. What a track. Opened in 1963. Was the home of F1 for 10 years. 1973, a gap, 1975 to 82, and then 84. And it has some iconic corners. Well, I say iconic because the chicane's iconic. 3 chicanes on this track. Actually, 4, if you count Jochen Rindt. It's a track that has had a lot of action over the years. Unfortunately, of course, the sad death of Gilles Villeneuve during qualifying in the 1982 Belgium Grand Prix. Still used, though, for the 24 Hours of Zolder, a local event, the FIA ETCR, that's the European Touring Car Championship, the European Truck Racing Championship, and recently the NASCAR European Series. But in the past, it has held World Touring Cars, Super League, DTM, the Blancpain GT Series, otherwise known now as the GT Championship, and one of my favorites, the Masters of Formula 3 came here for 2 seasons. So what are we looking at tonight, really? Well, if we take those DTM times, they're the closest representation to a GT3. And Nico Müller last year said a 1:27.257 in an Audi R8 Evo. These drivers, they're a little bit faster GT3s. So we're seeing 1:26s. In fact, in practice right now, 1:26.630 for Fabian Scheistek in a Ford, and Oscar Copo for 1:26.636. Just to give you an idea, and the Pro-Am's just bouncing around those 27s, as is the amateurs. It's a pretty balanced track and times tonight. I could talk a lot about this track, and we will do as we go into the race, but there is 1:40 left in practice, so it gives me a nice chance to just go over the championship standings. We'll start with the amateurs. Everything to play for with 4 races to go. Michael Panaman and Juan Manuel Queja are both tied on 510 at the top of the championship. Simon Dodd is P3 with 455. Then it is Dean Timms with 435. Timmy van der Broek and Werner S. are both tied on 420. And I don't like to bring in a P7, but Andrew Madel on 415. Last week, the only driver not to take part. He has a very good chance of getting some points and still getting that P3. Similar situation with the Pro-Ams. There are a few drivers that did not take points, but at the top it is still Alvin Kelberg. 505 points. 45 points ahead. 55 points ahead of Ethan Bass and Daniel Sedgley, both on 450. Thomas Reiter just sits in P4, 440. Sophie Ridpad sits in P5 with 435. And then the pros, it's not a lot of change after last week. Just 3 pros got official classifications. But the championship lead did change only by technicality, because Sean Campbell and Oscar Copa lead on 505. Technically, Oscar Copa would be the champion due to having more race wins. James Armstrong sits P3 on 430. Lewis Ward on 415 is in 4th, and Civilian Dupuis 355. As you're saying, only 3 pro drivers made a classification last week. Remember, we did see a couple drivers, James Armstrong for one of them, just having a couple issues out there last week. So, practice is officially over. Again, 75 minutes if you're not used to the World Series. 75 minutes, 2 mandatory pit stops. And it will be Yannis Albert who will be leading them off tonight. Fabian Scheistek will be P2. Then it's James Armstrong, Oscar Copa, and Sean Campbell. That is the 4 pros out there, to 5 pros out there tonight. Apologies. For the Pro-Ams, you can see it's Stuart Reynolds leading them away with Harry Wheels. The Mitchell Marshalkeverd will be behind them. Thomas Reiter will take up 4th. Daniel Sedgley will be 5th. And Ethan Bass takes a 6th, with Alvin Kelberg sitting there in 7th. Then for the amateurs, Michael Fowler will be leading them off with Angel Badero in P2. Andrew Madel will take 3rd, and so will Werner S. be taking 4th. Timmy van der Broek will be 5th. Then it's Dean Tim 6th, Simon Dodd 7th, Juan Manuel Kea in 8th, and Michael Patterman 9th. Just look how close it's going to be again. When we talk about having to work your way up the field for the likes of Sean Campbell, Oscar Copa, you do that pretty quickly. When we talk about the Pro-Ams, Alvin Kelberg, he'll get there, but it won't be that quick, in fact. And then we talk about the amateurs. Think about what Michael Patterman did last week, getting up to the front of the field, literally with 5 minutes to go. So that promises to be very interesting to see. That we've always seen the amateurs been quite a contested division recently. And I think we're going to see that again. So, what are we expecting from Zolder? Well, we're going to be expecting, as I made the joke before, about chicanes. It is a chicane city around here. Officially, 4 kilometers long. Unofficially / officially, 10 corners. Some people like to call turn 7, 7 and 8 with the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. Officially, the chicane and the 2 right-handers are all classed as turn 7. And because my Belgian is not very good, I will not be trying to pronounce a lot of these names. I do have the track number, the corner numbers on hand. Do not worry about that. Janus Albert, though, will be heading down to the Klein chicane, turn 5, as they call it. And that is the toughest chicane, I feel, on the track, just because it is the fastest chicane. That chicane is going to cause a lot. I would say if you're going to see a replay of an accident, somebody's probably bottomed out the car trying to take that chicane super aggressive. And then down turn 6 there, that little sweep turn 6. Into this turn 7, look at all that space you've got in. You've got to be careful not to cut. That chicane there, the second chicane, otherwise known as Tullerman. Otherwise, all this called turn 7, of course, and then down the straights they come to turn 8. The hairpin, I like to call it. It is a very weird and very tough hairpin. And that is going to cause a lot of overtaking opportunities, but also, when you think about it, a lot of chances for fuel saving. We always stress in the World Series how important fuel saving will be through Jochen Rindt corner, and now they'll get to Jackie Ick's corner. And remember, it's the Grand Prix layout, so it is the slower corner, the slower chicane, sorry, as we get ready to take 75 minutes of this beautiful Zolder track. Janus Albert will be leading them away for Sim 3D Sport. And we wait. The green flag is not official. The official will be when Janus leads them off. The RSR boys are just itching to get going, and here he goes. And has he left it a nice little place here for his teammate? Has James Armstrong got a nice little run here? Can he get around turn 1? He cannot. And that's going to be a little bit of a hold up there, because now he's going to be under-battled quickly by the rest of the RSR boys, but he does hold back. Let's get to the Pro-Ams, though, because they've just started. Stuart Reynolds is taking it away. You can see already you've got Thomas Reiter and Mitchell Marshalkeverd already in a battle, and Reiter's make that move around the outside right away. As we get to the amateurs, Michael Fowler will be leading the amateurs off, and just look at that. Padero slots right in behind, and Andrew Madel's got nowhere to go. Van der Broek trying to go by, and that is a spinning car. That looks like one of the Twisted drivers, and I believe that might be, I'm going to have to check that at the moment. That's one of the Twisted amateur drivers. That's Dean Timms, sorry. It was Dean Timms who's just had a spin. And unfortunately there, it looks like he just got a little bit too hot there. James Armstrong is trying to hold off here. He's gone to the back of the field at the moment. He's battling Sean Campbell, sorry. Okakopo already has got by him. He's going to be able to hold off at the moment into turn 8 as they continue on down. Will this be a move for Sean Campbell? Can he make this early overtake into Jackie X? He looks at it. It's just not there. He'll have to go around and try again. You see the dust getting kicked up there. And that final corner, it's a very, very tricky corner to take. But it is doable. Meanwhile, Ethan Bass is making moves in the pro-am. Michael Fowler's gone off, though. You can see Michael Fowler on the amateur tower. He's just gone down the order. We'll get a look in a moment once we get off out of the early action here. We'll get a replay of those couple incidents we've seen very shortly. But James Armstrong still holding on as he comes around turn 4. Fabian Scheiseg is holding on too. Janet Albert is going to make the move into the Klein chicane and makes it stick. And oh, what a defense there from James Armstrong. And we just caught it in the background, and it's still going to be battling here. Look at this. Look at this here. The side by side. He finally gets it. No, trying to get it. And now just hitting that curb there. Just hitting that curb, Armstrong. And that just allows the move to happen. But it is all going on at the moment. This is Harry Wheels. This is Mitchell Mashalkova. It's Thomas Reiter as well. They're all jostling for positions. Mashalkova goes down a position. Harry Wills also losing out. Thomas Reiter making a very strong start. Let's get some of these replays right now. And we're going to see one quickly as well as we just get that. That is Simon Dodd. Now that's, you can see in the background, that's Dean Timms, I believe. And you'll just see Simon Dodd is just again, I get a little bit of a tap in the back. Is he? I think he is. He is indeed. Yep, there he goes. The little tap. And that is all she wrote. Now then, that is James Armstrong. There is also, we might want to get back onto that pro-am battle right here. Mashalkova, Wills, Bass, all battling at the moment. Mashalkova and Wills have had some fantastic battles. While we were looking at the replays, Mashalkova made the overtake into turn 8, and they were battling hard down into turn 10, and they're still battling hard. Mashalkova's going to defend this around the outside in the Porsche. Dewey might have made this, you know. And if he gets this right, he's got the inside line. But when they come around, that's brilliant. He gets the line full stop. And he's going to be able to hold on to this. Now Ethan Bassett is going to be attacking Harry Wills. Behind them, you've got Daniel Sedgley. And you've got Daniel Sedgley there battling with Alvin Kjellberg. Nothing going on at the moment. These guys have been fantastic. Thomas Reiter and Stuart Reynolds has already checked out at the early parts of the race. This battle for P3 is just enthralling. And you've got to think to yourself, if Kjellberg gets by, you know, is it all going to be for nothing? Now, Michael Fowler here. We're just going to see him coming down the track. We did see him go down the timing tower. Let's see what happened. That's going into turn 8. Looks like the back of the car just goes around. Yep. Didn't look very settled there. It's a bit of a shame. This is live. Even though it's the same camera angle, Ethan Bass still hunting for positions. And you got to think to yourself, that's actually a spinning car there. That's Stuart Reynolds. That's Stuart Reynolds we just missed just on the side of the track. And he's had a spin going into turn 10 at Jackie Hicks chicane. So no idea what happened there. Here we go with the replay. Here comes Stuart Reynolds. We're just going to see it. Yep, here we go. Down into Jackie Hicks. And he comes in. Has he taken too much speed? Yeah, he's not. Yeah, too much speed by the looks of it. That's such a tight corner. It's a weird chicane because you want to take the inside. You want to take that first bit so quick, so hard, sorry, and get all the speed as you do because it is such a fast set of corners. Very tricky to get the hang of. Ethan Bass is still threatening. Well, he's still being threatened, sorry, by Alvin Kjellberg. It's a tough track to get overtakes here. You've got to earn it. There are a couple straights you can make it do. Start-finish straight. That's straight down to the Klein chicane. Also, look at that into the hairpin at 8. They're probably the best ones. You can try it at turn 10. Very risky. It's just one of those that you've just got to hold on for dear life. If you do try that, Kjellberg. The question is, does he use this for fuel saving? Does he not? The fuel saving over the last few weeks hasn't been as seen a lot as we were expecting, mainly due to technicalities of the track. There's not a lot of places where you can stay in slipstream, get around, not a lot of opportunities for double toes. So a lot of these drivers are just keeping themselves straight, keeping themselves clean, and just realizing that the best way is probably just drive instead of attempt some fuel saving. Kjellberg is going to be stuck to the back of that Ford. We know the Fords are good because, Fabian Scheisek is leading the prey. Timothy van der Broek is going to be looking for a move on. Padero, can he make it stick? He'll have to go around the outside of turn 3, and he's not got this to going. And if he's not set himself right, that's going to be Paterman going up to P3 if he's not too careful. Side by side goes there, manages to hold on to it. Van der Broek will not get that position. Padero is going to hold on to this now. Is either of them going to make a move here? Are either of them going to try to make it? There goes Paterman looking for the move into the Klein chicane. There, you cannot go side by side there. He backs out of it at the best moment. I thought for a moment they were going to go side by side, but maybe not. And of course, that means Werner S., his teammate, looks to be trying to make a move here. Just the momentum just going out of the way for Paterman. He'll have to recharge there and reset himself for that position. He's got his teammate now, Werner S. But you've not missed anything with Ethan Bass. You've not missed anything with Harry Wills, and you've not missed anything with Kjellberg or Sedgley. These guys, as they've been doing a lot this season, all bunched up together, just taking the time they need. No need to be aggressive if there's not the opportunity. And that's what a lot of these drivers are doing at the moment. They're just sensing out the track. It's not a track that's used a lot on iRacing. Not for the GT cars. So one of those that they're having to just understand their limits a bit. The top of my head, I can't remember the last time it was raced in the GT3 series on iRacing. That gives you an idea, really. I'm just trying to scratch my head. I can't think of it. So mainly an open wheeler, mainly an open wheel category for this track. As we were talking about, the Masters of F3 came here 2 seasons. Simon Dodd is going to have a little bit of a battle with Michael Fowler at the back of the amateur. They both brush out wide there, coming out of turn 4. It looks like Michael Fowler's setting himself up for an overtake, maybe going into turn 7. You never know. And just look at that. It's always weird taking that chicane. You want to take it right. You also don't want to bottom out the car. And that's what we have seen a couple times. But nothing yet for Simon Dodd. But there is still lots of time to go. Now, Oscar Copa is trying to threaten this Ford. This Ford that has no rhyme or reason to be at the front or do this well at Zolder. Why do I say that? It's still got pogo suspension. And you can just see going over the chicane there how much that suspension is going to be hit. There's only 4/10 between the two of them last lap in favor of Copa. So we'll keep eyes to see what they do. Just like we've got eyes everywhere else. This is Michael Paterman trying to make the move on Van der Broek, and he just can't get it. It is so tight there. It is such a flowing set of corners that you have to get it right the first part of the corner down into turn 2. If you've got any chance of making a move into turn 3, or even more, making a move into turn 4. But unable to do it at the moment. Now, let's get back to the Pro-Ams quickly. You can start to see how close Kjellberg getting to the back of Ethan Bass. One thing I want to point out, at the start, about 5 minutes ago, we were looking at Mashalkaverd and Wills having a little bit of a battle. And you can see, once Mitchell got away from Harry, he started to pull out a 2.5 second lead. Now, Wills is away from them, and he's now starting to just pull out a bit of a lead. Sorry, it's a 1 second lead, 1.2 second lead, and Wills trying to get away. But you can see Mashalkova does not want to be anywhere near that battle at the moment. We know how quick Kjellberg can be. Don't think this is a Lamborghini favored track, though, due to the nature of it. As you can start to see, though, of course, all the pro drivers bar one are Audis and Lamborghinis, and the Lamborghini is basically a brand new Audi in some respects. So they shouldn't have any problem battling, but it does make you wonder sometimes. Can it be a track issue, a lot of high speed here. You just never know what's going to happen around here. I've just had an incident there. I've got my eyes, and we've got these cameras here glued on the pros, just watching the pro-ams. You're about to see it as well. Alvin Kjellberg thought he had the run on Ethan Bass, is the one I was talking about. Just losing out there, trying to take it a bit too aggressive. He's in a battle now with Stuart Reynolds, as James Armstrong is still getting hounded by Sean Campbell. And now finally Campbell tries to make the move. It's going to be very dicey. Does he still got that overlap? And now no longer. He looked at it, he thought about it, and it just wasn't meant to be. Campbell is struggling at the moment to get around Armstrong. Is it a track issue? Is it a experience issue? Who knows around here? It could be anything. Like I said, a lot of these drivers probably don't drive this track a lot. For Sean Campbell, I'm going to press my bets and say this is the track that Camel GT has been to. We know Sean Campbell is a Camel GT driver. He's also done actually some, believe it or not, super late models around here. Think like the NASCAR Whelen European Series, and think that he has done some of that around here, so he does know his way around here. He's just having a bit of a struggle at the moment, just like Padero's having there on the outside of turn 4, losing out to Michael Patterman, and he is going to lose out full stop. He's not even going to try and contest the chicane. Michael Patterman, championship leader, goes into P2, but he's almost 5 seconds away from the leader of Andy Madel, who, because of everything going on behind him, has, knock on wood, had a pretty quiet race so far. And you can start to see, I mean, his times, he's been in clear air, and he's been doing 28s at the moment. As hang on 1 second, Manuel Caer is now going to make his own move, and he does indeed. Padero now is battling Vander Bruick now. He's not had it good, and he's going to be going back, but they almost bumped together. Almost bumped together there. Not what you want to see. Again, it is such a tight chicane. In some respects, it's almost a left-hander with a fast right-hander. Just with the nature of that corner. As I've driven this before, I find that if you don't get the right X entry onto that first part of turn 10, you're going to find yourself not being able to get the throttle down for the exit there. And it is so crucial, especially when you've got turn 1, to get that throttle down and try and get as much speed as possible on the exit there, or you will be a sitting duck at the end of that start-finish straight. So you've got to take it easy. So the amateurs still battling at the moment. Vander Bruick looking for a way around. It's not looking so good at the moment. I would have thought the BMW would excel at this track for one reason. It always feels it's higher up in the air. It always feels it can take the curves a bit more aggressively than the other GT cars around. I think the Porsche could take it a little bit like a BMW, but realistically, you are looking at the BMW being able to ride the curves a bit more. So you'd think that Vander Bruick would have a good time around here, but with the understeer this BMW suffers with a front engine drive, it's just not paying off for him at the moment. So we'll come back to that, of course. Do not worry. That is, of course, a battle for P3. Very important battle for P3. And this is an important battle for P3 as well. Harry Wills, Ethan Bath, Daniel Sedgley, and Alvin Kjellberg have been together for the last 2 laps. It's been very quiet. And that looks to be like Harry Wills had a slowdown. And Harry Wills has had to serve a slowdown by the looks of it. And he will lose that P3, go to the back of the train, almost getting collected by Stuart Reynolds. And having to let Stuart Reynolds go by. Harry Wills is gone to the back of this train and almost off the pace. And almost off the slipstream. Cockpit view here for Daniel Sedgley. Is he going to make a move on to Ethan Bath into turn 8? He gets it, you know. They're still side by side. Alvin Kjellberg's watching. Stuart Reynolds be watching. And Ethan Bath does get that position. But look at the slipstream. Kelber's going to use this to his advantage. He knows there's been the mistake. He's going to try and follow to Ethan Bass. He hits the back of Ethan Bass. And there has been a little bit of a commotion. The 4 drivers now just trying to take their right lines here. They're trying to figure out which seat to sit at the dining table. And all of a sudden, we could be going 3 wide. We're going to go 3 wide. Coleman's going to make it 3 wide. And it's now back to 2 wide. And he gets a touch. He gets a spin. And he is off the track. He is off the track. And that was Reynolds. And that was Reynolds essentially, wasn't it? We'll get a replay of that. I hate to say it. Live to fight another day, Alvin. Live to fight another day. The 2 wide was very on. But if you don't know you've gone 2 wide once you've just started 3 wide, that's going to happen. Personally, we're so early into the race. We're so early into the race. Is it worth that? Is it worth that? Oh, Michael Fowler, don't get on the gravel. Don't get on the gravel. And that's a heavy hit into the barrier there. Thankfully, it's not a concrete barrier, but even still, it's an old school barrier like the one Roman Grosjean went into. So you can get the idea of how much give it has. Now to the pros. While all that drama was happening in the Pro-Ams, nothing's changed. You can see Yannis Albert, unfortunately, just off the pace today. But these drivers are just having the time of their life. Maybe it might be a case that these three, Cooper, Armstrong, Campbell, just thinking, let Fabian do his own thing. He's not pulling away. You know, we're quite content doing this. And we'll be content doing this until the first pit stops, and then everything will start kicking off. Is there any chance of a move? No. I think even Campbell's just resigned himself to staying behind Armstrong until the first pit stop. Everyone's saving fuel, though, which gives an interesting question. Who comes in first? We know it should be Fabian in the lead. Well, as I said that, hang on, that is Sean Campbell making a move. Has he been listening in to me? He tries for that late move, but that late move is not very good if you want to try and get an overtake. You've got to be side by side instead of late braking into turn 8. And he does not have it onto the lovely chicane camera at Jackie Hicks. And unable to make any overtake there at the moment. But yeah, I think maybe it's just a case of he could ask questions. But if he makes the overtake at Armstrong, where is he going? Copa's not going to be... Copa, isn't getting around Fabian. And even with Campbell there, is he going to do that? They're going to go side by side again. And Campbell just wants to get some speed. That's all that is. He just wants to get a little bit of speed and unable to. So the timing tower move there, that is not an issue. Ethan Bass has decided to come into the pits. We'll have a quick look. It looked like he went into the pits. I did hear the pit sign, but let's get a quick look. And he's just gone whoop. Oh. He almost did a Hamilton at China, but he comes into the pits. We did see Daniel Sedgley getting caught out there. So that is the timings at the moment. And you start to see those numbers starting to spread out a bit in the Pro-Ams. But I just got to say, Marshalkoverd, 6 seconds ahead of everybody now. Just a fantastic pace there, pulling away. He is a little bit slower to Thomas Reiter. We have not talked about Reiter today. Been driving so well at the front, has Reiter. There's not really been anything to talk about. He's just kept it clean. He's kept it safe. Now, these two, they've been keeping it clean. They've been keeping it safe. But the battles that Campbell has started with Armstrong, they've started to lose the train a little bit here. And you can understand having a battle. We're racing at the end of the day. It is a motor race. I apologize for the pun there, if you know what I'm on about there. But they have to be racing. You don't blame them. Personally, in my shoes, if I was in Campbell's shoes, I would have probably just gone for the fuel save. Hello, 1 second. D. Tims and Werner S having a little bit of a moment there. Padero is behind them as well. Gonna get a quick replay of this. Badero goes for... Oh, he went for a late move. He went for a late move. That was Werner S making the late move from Badero. Just getting hit off there. Dean Timms is now following Werner S for that P5. Again, you did see Stuart Reynolds went into the pits as well. To the Pro-Ams. Starting to play the mind games a little bit here. A couple drivers taking early pit stops. Is that early pit stops just to catch people out? That early pit stops to, you know, just hold them for the time being? We'll know in due course. Also, one thing to just make a note of, we knew about Andy Madel was having a very quiet time in the lead. Not been going its way recently in the lead of the amateurs, as Michael Patterman has started to catch up to him at the front of the field. The gap now between those two is 2 seconds as Dean Timms and Werner S come in to turn 7. Dean Timms gets that move done, brilliantly done. Meanwhile, in the pros, Tri-State, Copa, Armstrong, Campbell. No, in all due fairness, you start to see Armstrong's managed to just calm it down a little bit. He's realized there's no overtaking moves by Campbell at the moment. He's just able to now close that gap, get a little bit of slipstream. It's all very important at this stage of the game. As you can see, they've had 23 minutes. They have 52 minutes left in the race, roughly. So you start to see pit stops really should be happening in the next 5 minutes. And with lap times at 1:27s, give it another 4 laps, 3 or 4 laps, and I think we'll start seeing drivers come in for these pit stops. Expect a mass spam of the pit box for the amateurs. And we haven't, while we're watching this, we haven't talked about the pit lane here, because the pit lane has a chicane in it. I mean, you can make the joke, don't call this circuit Zolder, call it circuit chicane. But there is a little bit of a chicane, a very tight left-right in the pit lane. It is under pit speed, but it is also to just make sure you don't attempt it. And of course, remember in the old days, there were no pit limiters in F1, even up until the 90s. But when this was the Belgian Grand Prix, there were no pit limiters. So you can imagine what that chicane was there for those purposes. So that can catch people out, and it has caught me out. I haven't hit anything, but if you're not ready for it when you first get around the track, it does catch you out. I was going to say, one of the things in my experiences around here, I have done Masters of F3, some F3 around here before. I've also taken part in a charity 24-hour race around here for Jimmy Broadbent, and I must admit, it was a very interesting track to get around when you've got a stock car. But it was also crazier for the likes of those in prototype cars, and these two are going to try and go for it. They're in a little bit of a touch. Campbell is trying, and now Armstrong's forced to take the inside line. He's forced to go inside. And Campbell try and make this around the outside into turn 1. You know, he's going to try the cutback. Now he's got the outside for turn 2. Hang on 1 second, Sean. Surely he's been trying to get the cutback to get to the inside. Side by side, they go around turn 2. And he's been given the space. And around they go for turn 3. Still side by side. They don't touch. This is great racing by the two once again. Turn 4, side by side. Has Campbell got this? No. But who's got the inside for the chicane? I think you'll find it's Armstrong. Campbell will get this. Finally. Great racing by these two. Side by side all the way. Brilliant. And now Campbell can start to think, may have given myself too much to do here. 2.7 seconds behind my teammate after all that battling. But if I get ahead, can Armstrong keep up? Be very interesting to find out. So these are the battles at the moment, because of all the pit stop rotation. It is just the pros having their own little battle. And you can see Copa trying to navigate to catch up to Fabian there. You'll see another person going into the pits. not see who that was going into the pit per se, but again, pit lane. Talked about that little chicane in the pit lane with Michael Fowler going into the pit lane. You just caught there as well. Another issue. This is a Montreal style pit lane where you will drive on the racing line to get into the pit lane, and it can cause a lot of issues if you're not aware. And we have seen issues on other tracks like that before. So one of those things as well, they're going to have to keep their eyes and ears open for when making that pit dive, because the guy in front may not be going into the pit lane the lap you want to go. So in some respects, if you've got a big gap around you, it would pay to make sure that you go for that and not go into the back of somebody. We see Daniel essentially making the pit lane. We see the first of the amateurs, Andrew Mado and One Man One Care, both into the pit lane as they go. Patterman will take the de facto lead. Dean Timms as well into the pit lane. And I'm not sure if anybody else goes in at the moment. They do not. So we talked about the pit entry. We talked about the chicane at the pit lane. We haven't talked about the exit of the pit lane as Copa and Shizek both come in. Will Campbell join them? Yep. Will Armstrong join them? Yep. We haven't talked about it. And Sal Albert, ooh, a little bit sketchy. Like I said, we've talked about that entry. We've talked about that chicane. We haven't talked about the exit. It is on the racing line per se, and it is very tough. And here's the exit of Andrew Madel. Very, very slow pit there from Andrew Madel there. Not sure what happened there. But he comes in, and you can see that is rejoining straight on the racing line. It's a little bit on the inside. You've got that question of, got to be careful, but at the same time, I've got to be racing. But priority goes to the man or the woman on the racing line. And now with everyone pitting, I was just keeping my eyes on the pit exit to see who at the pros gets away. Fabian Scheisek gets out quicker than Oscar Copa. A second quicker. Now that's crucial. He is now free. No slipstream. Copa doesn't have that dirty air either. But now you've got Fabian with a little bit more clean air. He's going to see what he can do. And Campbell and Armstrong remain tied up together as well. What about the Pro-Ams, you ask? Well, Thomas Reiter gets ahead of everybody. Now, was there an issue with Marschalkeverd? As Thomas Reiter gets ahead of him by quite a lot of time there. 8 seconds now is that gap. So that just goes to show the times. Anybody else? Alvin Kelber gets to jump on everybody. No, even Bass, stays in that position. Daniel essentially as well. Michael Patterman yet to pit. We had pitted. Now I apologize. We'll get that update when he crosses the line. There's Andrew Madel. He's got Michael Patterman right in front of him. That's what we were looking for. For the first time, Madel has got a little bit of back work to do as Michael Patterman gets ahead. This is going to be very crucial. Can he hold on? He's going to try and make that move. No, he's just going to try and take that wide line that he likes around turn 6 into turn 7. No dice at the moment. Now, we keep watching this. I was just looking, and now gonna have to see what has happened. I think Stuart Reynolds has gone for a little bit of a splash and dash here, because you see in the timing tower that Marschalkeverd is now third. He was second. He had a lot of time to the guy in second, but you see, Ethan Bass came in early. He's now on the back of Marschalkeverd. Stuart Reynolds came in early. He's now ahead. They both took less fuel. Well, I say less fuel. They probably just had more fuel in the tank and filled up. So that could be interesting to see what happens at the end of the race. Marschalkeverd currently P3, 2.8 seconds away from Reynolds. We'll see that. But this battle at the moment starting to look like Padawan starting to pulling away. And to be fair, Padawan looked like he'd be making the move on the track, but then the pit window came open and he was able to make that move in the pits. They spent about the same time in the pit lane, so there was no jump whatsoever. But such is the way. We'll keep our eyes. Maybe Madel's got something to do here. Can he do anything? You see Janus Albert, he has retired the car. Not sure what has happened there to Janus. We will find out sooner rather than later. Gets close in the chicane. It's one of his favourite corners. I know that because I did the charity race with him. It's one of his favourite corners is turn 7. He does start to catch that BMW looking very good around here. But that Lamborghini of Michael Padawan, the Panda 1 Racing Lamborghini, it's just quick, and he's looking for another victory this season. What would it be for another victory? But at the same time, you've got to start thinking to yourself, is Andrew just starting to play the percentage games? Is he looking at fuel saving or just trying to keep on the back of Michael Padawan? Maybe see if he can just jump a lap, see what he can do. At the moment, his pace, they're matching pace. Now, that's good for Madel. That's just what he wants to see. So maybe that is what we could be seeing elsewhere. Because raw pace, the way Padawan's made his way up the field, you've got to give it to Padawan. So on board with Madel, you start to see he starts to close in that gap a little bit. He got up to 2/10 at one stage. He'll bring it down a little bit, and then comes into the chicane. Look how he takes it. He takes a lot of the first part of the chicane, not a lot of the second part. He doesn't want to risk any damage there, so he takes it very conservatively, but also quick, and then gets up there in to turn 7 and able to just keep that gap. So that's going to be one that's I'm really looking forward to this because it's so close. It's probably the first time that Padawan's had competition at this stage of the race for the lead. He's had competition last week, Mid-Ohio, remember, spun a couple times, had to work his way back around. But if he can just start pulling away from Madel, maybe he won't have it. But it is very tough. It's like it's tough for Oscar Copa at the moment. Where does he find a way around this Ford? Fabian continues, I wouldn't say to be a thorn in their side, but he just continues to be a pain. How do you get past the Scottish Ford? It's a very tough question because this Ford is really working well at the chicanes. It's something that don't really hear a lot. Even Ethan Bass in the other Ford working very well because they're not teammates. They've got different setups. And they're working at a very good rate here, these Fords. I'd love to know what they're doing. I would not want to drive it, but I'd love to know what they're doing. Anyway, here... Oh. Harry Wills at the spin. And a reverse. Is he going to get himself back onto the track? No, he toes. He toes it. So that's a bit of a shame there for Wills. Looks to be like that was around turn 7. It felt like, just by going on my limited knowledge around the track, I'd say that was turn 7. Just a quick update on the Pro-Ams, though. You start to see that timing tower. Yes, that is updated. Marshalkeverd, ever since he came out the pits, losing time on Reynolds. And he's got Ethan Bass right behind him. And you may see a little bit of damage at the rear there. Now, that was actually caused by the bumps of turn 5. Took the bumps a little bit too hard and did just push in the back there. Don't think there's any damage to his splitter, which would be very handy to him, but he's able to hold off this Ford. They come in to the chicane right now, you can see. Takes, again, a conservative line there. A lot of people can say that you can cut the inside and don't cut the outside chicane, but deciding not to just do any of that and just keeping it safe. So, Simon Dodd now. Coming into turn 8, that looks like too hot, too hot, too hot, too hot. just there. It wasn't the case of too hot. It was more of a case of broke too early and started turning in early. Just like it's like Ethan Bass there trying to get a cut back here on Schalkeverd. Did not pay off for him, and he's getting the Sean Campbell treatment, trying to make those moves, just not paying off for him. Ethan Bass is looking for this P3 though. He is looking for this P3. The undercut by him and Reynolds has turned out to be a masterstroke, but they will have to pit early. Though this time they will not have to underfuel. They will be full fuel. When I say underfuel, because they still had a lot of fuel left in the tank, they went all the way to the max capacity, which meant they took less time, which meant less fuel. So for those two, Reynolds and Schalkeverd, they will have to try and work it out. Sorry, not Schalkeverd, Bass and Reynolds. As we see, oh no! Campbell's got in with a lap car! Campbell's got in with it with a lap car! No idea what's happened there. And it looks to be just a miscommunication or just a bit of grass there, but Campbell getting in with a lap car. Is that going to be an issue? There it is. You can start to see. We just missed it there on the replay, but you can see losing out there. And he's back to P4. Co-championship leader. Losing a very vital position, because not only did he go to P4, look at the gap between Armstrong and Copa. It's 2 seconds. That gap has started to spread out. And Armstrong goes wide himself. This is not what you want to see. You've just got that P3 back, and now you're going to lose it. Side by side, into the chicane. They still go side by side. Sean Campbell, you are crazy. James Armstrong, you're just as crazy. They're still side by side, going down into turn 7. Who's got it this time? It is Armstrong. No, it's Campbell, sorry. It's Campbell, sorry. Apologies. Finally making that move. I can't believe I just saw two. I just can't believe I just saw two GTs go side by side through the Klein chicane. I don't know what I just saw. Let's watch it again. Look at the space they gave each other. Look at that space. Armstrong goes, I'll take the inside. I'll take the curb on that one. He goes, and Campbell goes, I'll take the camera on the other one. And then side by side they come into turn 7. And really, there was only going to be one result there with the way Telemann box is. It's going to be Campbell's corner. But what damage does he have? That's a question we'll have to see. Obviously, it's not affecting him, so he doesn't need to take any pits. But getting that hit there did not do him any favors. Meanwhile, Copa, he needs help, but he's not going to get it. And he's going to stay behind Fabian Scheitek for some more laps to go. With 35 minutes to go, pit window is not open. That's the important thing. Pit window not open at the moment. Now, this is the battle happening. Ethan Bass just trying to get a nose in into turn 1 on Schalkeverd, but did not get it there. It's a tough one, that turn 1. Ideally, you want to set yourself up to get it around turn 2, 3, and 4. But thinking he had the speed, that Ford decided that he wanted to try and make that move. It did not pay off for him. You've got to start wondering to yourself, is this damage from Schalkeverd or is this the pace? Very interesting question there. Very interesting. And if he is losing time, which I don't think he is, but if he was losing time, he's got to start thinking about, can I afford to take that repairs in the pits? Even Bass and Reynolds are going to be taking more time and going to be pitting early. Will I have to just hold off the barrage? They pitted. Even Bass pitted lap 13. Stuart Reynolds pitted lap 14. Everybody else pitted lap 19 with the exception of a couple other drivers. So you think they would have to pit? Well, realistically, they would have to pit right as the window opens. So in a couple laps, if you do the maths, double 13, it goes to 26. You double 14, it goes to 28. I'm not saying that's how you work it out. That would be really bad to just double the lap number you were on, and you'll get an idea. As things change, and Bass having this fuel saving, as is Daniel Sedgley now, by the way. So it does make you wonder when they're going to come in. Will Bass come in before Reynolds? Will Reynolds come in before Bass? Who knows? We haven't talked about the front two in the Pro-Ams, but surely near the end of the race we probably will. Copa is still trying. There's not a no attempt. He is still making sure he keeps up, tries to battle on. Really curious though to see what that timing tower is going to say with Campbell. Yeah, when is it going to stop? When is it going to start dropping? It's down to 3 now. I think the timing tower is just a little bit slow with the updating, but live on my time on my board, it's at 3. There's 3.1. There we go. So I was wrong. 3.1. So catching a little bit. I think the key here is that Copa's not getting held up by Fabian. If he was getting held up by Fabian, the time would start to drop. And if he was getting held up, Copa would have just gone, let me go now. So maybe not. Copa, we haven't talked a lot about him ever since that incident at turn 1 at the start of the race. Oh, he took it hard, and that's the example I didn't want to show people what happens if you try to go too hard and clip that. And he has come into the pit. I think that probably some damage there for Kjellberg more than anything. That's definitely floor damage. I can just hear the sound of a floor scraping there when he goes in. So he's coming to the pit. Might have decided to try and get some repairs as these guys continue the battle. That gap with Campbell is starting to drop a little bit. A little bit. Nothing too, eyes open at the moment. You'll see Ethan Bass and Daniel Sedgley. Remember, if it's yellow, you probably worked it out by now. Yellow on the timing tower is less than a second. Orange is less than half a second. And you'll see a bit of yellow and orange in the Pro-Ams when we get a chance. I don't think Copa's got a run at the moment. But Ethan Bass is having to hold off Daniel Sedgley. At the same time, Schalkeverd is now feeling comfortable in the Pro-Ams. In fact, there we go. 31 minutes remaining. Pit window is still not open. If Ethan Bass needs to pit, if Stuart Reynolds needs to pit, they'll have to pit next time by. I'm just thinking at the top of my head if there's going to be any chance of extra fuel saving. Cannot see it. I have been wrong before. But we'll, anything can happen. This Ford may have a reserve fuel tank in a Ford. That'd be fantastic. Anyway, Copa's trying to battle a Ford himself. We'll be talking about this on board with Oscar Copa, RSR Esports. He's just not wanting to find a way around at the moment. I think he's, again, we talked about him being complacent. I think that may be the case. He may decide, no need to be aggressive. It's a 75-minute race. I can take both pit stops, keep myself clean, and then get going. That may be his MO there. We'll wait and see. Armstrong has come into the pits at the earliest possible time. Super early, in fact, just on the cusp there of being able to go all the way. That's going to be tough for him, though. That's going to be 20 minutes. Ethan Bass is going to try and go for a gap. That's not there. Ethan Bass is trying to go for a gap. That's not there. Oh, that has come out to be very costly for both drivers. They're getting held up there. And now, all of a sudden, Daniel Sedgley is going by. Very confusing that the gap was closing and Ethan Bass continued to go for it. Very weird. That says to me he has to pit. That is a I have to pit moment there. Very weird moment because he's not gained anything. He's still P4. He basically just switched it around and now Daniel Sedgley takes P3. very confusing set of moments there. The gap was closing. There was still a gap there, but you could start to see you were when you were rubbing tires. Do you take it? Maybe get the run around the outside. If you got the run around the outside, you would have set yourself up for the inside of turn 2. Regardless, make the move stick. Very safe driving all around by every driver. But Daniel Sedgley is going to take advantage of this. He's going to take advantage, and he is going to take this lead. By the way, Armstrong's still in the pits. No idea what's happened to Armstrong there. We'll get an idea, but it's a 3-horse race. And Ethan Boyes! Well, I didn't really want an example of what could happen at this pit lane entry. Almost got it there. I said that he had a lap to go. I was wrong. He went one more lap. He's now into the pits. But he almost collected Daniel Sedgley. That was a close one, if I do say so myself. Just like this at the moment with Oscar Copa and Fabian Scheiseg as they start their way. Surely they've got a few more laps to go. Ignoring what some of these drivers have done with early pit stops, we're still expecting Stuart Reynolds to come in shortly. These guys have probably got another, top of my head, 6, 7 laps maybe to go with these guys. Copa may have the advantage of coming in later, but if he's got all this slipstream, does he want to split the pit strategies? Does he pull the Verstappen, as Martin Brundle would say in F1? If he goes, don't go. If he doesn't go, go. We'll wait and see. Unfortunately, it is now a 3-car race in the pros with Albert out, Armstrong in the pits. Again, not sure what happened to Armstrong, but he is in the pits. With all the pit stops now starting, the pit rotation starting, it is a little bit different, a little bit shaky around here. Now, interesting, Marshall has come into the pits early. Maybe he's going to try and get that jump on Ethan Bass. Maybe he's countering Ethan Bass here. And remember, if he's still got a lot of fuel, this is his short stop. So that one we'll keep eyes on. But the key thing is, like Ethan Bass, he'll be coming out with the amateurs. Or around the amateurs, sorry. He won't be coming out with the amateurs, he'll be coming out around the amateurs. Do either of these two come in for a pit stop now? Nope. They continue around. Marshall is now. I'm just keeping my eyes on Marshall. You see pit exit right here. He may get overtaken, may get lapped by these two drivers. In fact, he's coming out the box right now. And yeah, he just makes sure he's got the space. You know what? He's managed to do it ahead of Ethan Bass. 5 seconds ahead of Ethan Bass. And I think that's just a really good strategy. The counter pit has worked for him. Going to a little bit of time letting Sean Campbell by just there in the background. But Ethan Bass is lost out there. Okay, the gap's now 3.5 seconds. Key thing though is Marshall has slipstream. And he's not going to be held up. And there goes Stuart Reynolds. He now comes into the pits. But you've got to think he's got P2 at least strapped in now. Thomas Reiter. We haven't seen Thomas Reiter at all this race. He's been, there he is. Ask and I shall receive. We've not seen him at all. He's just been driving his own race, enjoying the sights and sounds of Zolder, and just having fun lapping the track. To be fair, he could almost be in the pros at this moment. He's a little bit behind the pros, but with this pace that he's had recently, yeah, he could be in the pros. As Stuart Reynolds now comes out the pit box, like I was saying, you'll see the pros coming to him this time by, maybe. Just they come around turn 1 into turn 2. But as we expected, Stuart Reynolds looks like he is signed on to that P2. As Copa looks like he wanted to make a move there on Fabian Scheiseg. That's probably the first time this race that he's looked to make a move on the Ford driver, but was unable to get anything yet. Remember, 23 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. These drivers at the front still to pit. In fact, it's only the middle of the Pro-Ams that has come into the pits. I think Dean Timms is the next amateur. Yeah, he's the first amateur to come into the pit. So the Pro-Ams are in a very interesting battle right now. These 5 are the only 5 still running out there. Right, to essentially Reynolds, Marshalkeverd, and Bass. 3 of them have pitted. Reynolds, Marshalkeverd, and Bass. The rest yet to pit. Reiter looks to be like he will keep that P1. Be interesting to see where Daniel Sedgley comes out, because you start to see he's 21 seconds ahead of Marshalkeverd. That's not going to be enough, personally. I don't think that's going to... Sorry, 21 seconds? I cannot do maths. I apologize. That is not 21 seconds. That is 46 seconds. I apologize. 46 seconds is the gap there between Sedgley, Marshalkeverd, and Bass, as Bass keeps catching, but that's not the battle we're looking at the moment. It's Oscar Copa trying to make his way around Fabian Scheiseg, and he still struggles. He still struggles to get this position. With 22 minutes ago, they've probably got another 3 to 4 laps. Maybe 3, we'll call it 3. At least 3 laps that they can go. Can Fabian go that distance, leading for so long? You've got to think that he's had no opportunities to fuel save. Lap traffic's gone out of his way. Hasn't met any lap traffic during the corners. Does make you think that he's going to have to take a pit stop before Copa. You start to see as well. You just start to see, is he going to make a move here? It's going to be late braking into turn 8. Gets it done. That to me says a pit stop's looming. Just the way he's been a bit racy. Just says to me a pit stop is looming with these drivers. Again, who knows? We'll wait and see. Now the question is, what pace does Copa have? Because it almost feels like they've just turned the gears, and he's now gone into that 5th and 6th gear in the real world. I'm not talking the car there. Just starting to crank it a bit. You can start to see that gap is already expanding. A gap that isn't expanding and is actually closing. You'll start to see Michael Paterman and Andrew Madel are starting to have a little battle themselves. This is an interesting battle going on here. I think something's happened to Paterman for him to be this far off there. It's very interesting to see Madel starting to just claw in the times as he comes near his pit window. Of course, behind him is another, I think that is Padero, sorry, a lap car there, Padero, behind them. Madel has now caught up, and all of a sudden Paterman just needs to calm it, just needs to just get himself there. P2 would be great for the championship for him, but he wants that P1, and he cannot make a mistake if he wants to keep it. As the Color Shock Racing BMW comes by, he needs to start battling the Panda 1. That gap's starting to expand a bit. Looks like we may have had a little bit of a Paterman just off the pace quickly and Madel catching, because all of a sudden Paterman's just got it all clinking together again, and you start to see 3 tenths faster that last lap. After the lap before, there was about 4 tenths the other way. That battle was still one to keep eyes on. We're on lap 38 of a possible 51. A lot of laps for a fantastic track. Let's bring back Zolder for more racing, I say. I think the Ferrari, hang on 1 second, Copa's gone on wide. I don't think we're going to see an overtake here. We do not. I was going to say the Ferrari fix on iRacing was here a few weeks ago. Provided some very interesting action as per usual. Ferrari Challenge. Some good racing all the way down the field. I just gave people a taste of what this track can bring. And like I said, let's bring more Zolder to racing. That's what I'd say. Not just open wheelers. Now, with pit stops starting to loom for the Pro-Ams and the AMs, you start to see some of the AM drivers in the pit box now. Campbell has managed to close that gap big time. Half a second faster last lap, and he darts in. He's not had the ability for fuel saving. So does Copa. That's a team move. Fabian Scheiseg is on his own. This is going to have to be the... If he's coming in this lap, it's going to be the in-lap of in-laps. Stuart Reynolds comes out, and he will keep that P2. He does get that P2. Thomas Reiter yet to pit. He's just getting held up by lap traffic at the moment. That is Van der Broek. Still getting caught up a little bit there by lap traffic. That will help those behind him. Daniel Sedgley maybe will start to look to see what he can do. Thomas Reiter in the pits now. So Copa and Campbell come out of the pits. A second or so between them. Fabian Scheiseg is looking for the in-lap. Oh, well, I wouldn't say of a lifetime. He needs a really strong in-lap. If he wants to try and hold on to this, we do want to see a Ford win a race, and it would be fantastic. Paterman now into the pits. Reminder that Van der Broek has yet to pit. He'll be the last of the pitters, as he will come in very shortly, one would think. In comes Fabian. I think he does indeed. Really curious to see what his in-lap was. It was the 34.5 for Copa. The in-lap for Fabian. Where is that right now for Fabian? Is it going to be... It's a 35.2. It's not fast. Now that's going to bring Campbell into the fray. Meanwhile, everybody has now pitted in the Pro-Ams. Just double checking my figures. They have indeed. Everyone has now pitted. This is officially the positions we get during the pit stops. Madel, 6 seconds. No, sorry. That timing tower is wrong. It's actually 2 seconds to Paterman. Right up Reynolds, Sedgley, and Mashalkaverd. Where has Daniel Sedgley come from all of a sudden? Taking that P3 away. And look at this. Fabian Scheiseg is right in the middle of both of them. And he gets around one of them. He is in a little bit of a battle right here. They're trying to battle around. They've got lap traffic around them. Fabian is in the middle again. That gap does extend a little bit for Copa. But for Campbell, it doesn't. It stays about what it was before any overtakes happened or before they came into the pits. The Campbell has got work to do here. And we saw what he was like earlier on Armstrong. Can he do the same? He's only got 15 minutes to try and do it. Paterman's got 15 minutes to hold a 1.8 second lead over Andrew Madel. Can he do it? Maybe. Thomas Reiter has a 6 second lead over Stuart Reynolds. Can he hold on to that? Can the Panda 1 Racing take not just the Pro-Am win, but the AM win? That would be brilliant for them. It's looking like it's going to stay this way for the rest of the Pro-Ams. Look at how big those gaps are. Remember at one stage, Mashalkaverd was P2. Bass was P3. They were battling hard. And then, unfortunately, that'll happen. And you've really got to tip your hat to the likes of Reynolds and Sedgley pitting to get away from everybody. Reynolds with that brilliant pit stop to get away from everybody. And that really got in that P2. It has to be said. And we'll knock on wood to make sure he does not have a crash and loses that P2. But brilliant driving there in the Audi. Now, Thomas Reiter's in the pits. Thomas Reiter's already pitted. What is this for? Now, hang on one second. Thomas Reiter's in the pits. I thought he already pitted. Is this a drive-through? Is this a drive-through for the leader? I knocked on wood. What's going on here? He's in the pit box. Thomas Reiter, has he underfueled? He's underfueled. Or is it a stop and go? Confusion going on right now with Thomas Reiter, but he's out of the lead. He's down in P5. We're gonna have to see. I'm sure somebody's got information, but what on earth has happened there for Thomas Reiter? We're gonna have to look. He did take a pit stop there. I thought that he had to, he's got an invalid lap. Hang on. He's got an invalid lap, and this is another invalid lap. Has he got an incident limit? Or is that a stop and hold for cutting the track? We're gonna have to keep an eye on that. If he comes in again, he's not served a stop and hold there. He's gone into the pit. A drive-through. He needs forwarders to stop and hold. But Thomas Reiter, from the lead of the race, is down in P5. Anyway, here's Sean Campbell. We'll keep eyes on that drama. Sean Campbell now battling. He's right up to the back of Fabian Scheitek as they come down into turn 7. I think he'll just hold on a little bit there with 2 minutes to go. Doesn't need to do anything too aggressive. As now, you can see his teammate. The question is, if he gets past Scheitek, can he catch up to his teammate in time? Can't see it, if I'm brutally honest. Thomas Reiter comes across the line, by the way. Now, if it's a valid lap, looks to me like he had to serve a stop and hold for cutting the course. That's what I'm going to say. When we get any more information, we'll know. Very interesting move. Not sure what happened there. Anyway, Sean Campbell, he's now in his little battle. And it is the closest battle on the field at the moment. You start to see they're starting to catch up to Oscar Copa as well. I think Copa's got held up by traffic. They're going to be held up by even more traffic coming up very shortly. This is all going the way of the Ford at the moment. That'll be Juan Manuel Kea, one of the championship leaders, in front of Oscar Copa. But Fabian is now starting to get a bit of time. This is good for Fabian. Everything starts to bunch up a little bit, but for the same time, Campbell, and it's had a slowdown for oh no, that's a slowdown! That's a slowdown! And oh no, they come together! Oh, that could have been so close. That could have been so close, but Campbell will take that P2. That looked like that was Copa with a slowdown. And he was not trying, in all fairness, he was not trying to impede Fabian. He was trying to get off the racing line. And now Campbell looking for the move. Watch this again. They come together and Fabian's got nowhere to go. And Campbell gets by. You've missed nothing while that's happening. Fabian's now behind these two RSR drivers. Is Campbell going to make the move into turn 10? No. So now Fabian, he has two RSR drivers right in front of him. And they are battling hard at the moment. They're side by side. Campbell has the outside. Copa has the inside. Campbell's going to try and do this. He's going to hold on around the outside of turn 1. And they're side by side going down into turn 2. Campbell's made the stick. Around the outside he went. And he keeps it. And Campbell takes the lead. What can Fabian do? What can Copa do? Not sure there's a lot the Ford can do at the moment as these two RSR drivers are battling hell-bent right now with 10 minutes to go in the race. Will there be a move? Down here. Nothing yet. And we get to see if Copa's got anything up his sleeves on his teammate. Does he go and look for a move in to turn 7? Not yet. Not yet. There'll be 6 laps to go after this lap, by the way. Unless they start to slow the pace down, because we're looking at 50.06. If you do the maths, which suggests it could be a 50 instead of a 51 lap race. And if they fueled for 51, they've overfueled. Maybe the RSR guys know this. Maybe this is their plan. And you start to see, even while having a little bit of a scrap, RSR are starting to pull away from that Ford, and Fabian, he's held that lead for so long. And you gotta feel for him. What could he do? There is not a lot he could do. He's just now forced to watch these two drivers battle and pray to the iRacing gods that somebody out of these two just makes a mistake and they collect each other. Will it happen? We hope not. Could it happen? I mean, we don't want to turn it into a BMW in the Formula E race a few years ago. That's all I'm saying. Let's not see that. If you don't know what I'm referencing, it's exactly what I'm trying to imply. So Ethan Bass now. What has happened here with Ethan Bass? That's an overtake, and then goes over the chicane. Ooh. Well, we said the Ford's got a bit of pogo. We didn't mean that. And that is a shame. That put Thomas Reiter back up to P4. But again, looks like that will be the final positions. We'll have to see what happened, unfortunately, to Thomas Reiter. We'll try and work that out. Probably will let us know after the race. 7 minutes 30 to go. When they cross the line, will the average lap go down to 50 or will it stay at 51? Copa gets a little bit of gravel on the exit there of the final turn. It's 50.05. I think we're doing 51 laps here. Who's got the fuel for 51 laps is the question. You would have to... Well, you'd say they all have to. Yeah, I'd say they all have the fuel for 51. But if they've gone for 50, maybe they will try and set it for 50. That could be one interesting situation. These are the leaders. Can't remember the last time we had the top three so close together for the end of a race. We've had top two close together for the end of a race, but not like this before. It's Fabian trying to stay alive, and there goes Copa making a move. They do touch, and that holds up Fabian. But the leaders touch as Copa gets around Campbell. Remember, they are level on points in the championship. And if Copa gets this, that will extend his lead to 5 points plus 3 wins. Campbell's only had 1 win. And we know on countback that could be very crucial. But for Fabian, he's got it all to do yet again, as he will try to get by. Nothing's happening at the moment. It's Ethan Bass, by the way. Again, what could have been a very back and forth race and a roller coaster of a race for a lot of these drivers in the Pro-Am. Everybody had a chance at every position apart from the win. Except for Thomas Reiter, he had a chance at every position. He just didn't know it. Like, again, may have been a case of underfueled, may have been a case of a stop and hold. He had 2 invalid laps, which suggests to me it was a black flag. We'll probably get the information later on. 5 minutes to go. And Copa versus Campbell will continue. This is where they like making these moves. And Campbell's going to try and make this move. Nope. I thought he was going to try and make that move. Was not going to make that move. Now all of a sudden, he's on the back foot. If he wants that championship lead, he wants sole possession of that championship lead, he's going to have to fight for it. Around turn 8 they go, into turn 9. I think they're now starting to let Fabian just pull away. And these guys are just using all of their resources, all of their tricks of the trade to see if they can try and make the other one make a mistake or make the other one just put themselves out of the way of an overtake. We'll wait and see. The wide line going in there from Campbell. Copa continues. A little bit of grass there from Campbell. Able to hold on to it. We are going 51 laps, by the way, as per what my prediction is. Now let's have some look at the other amateurs. Simon Dodd is battling Padero. And it's been pretty busy. Remember, this is the biggest class we've got. It was 9 cars. It went down to 8 cars. We've still got a little battle here, and Simon Dodd with a really nice run out of turn 8. Will he make this move on Padero? We always like looking at every battle and every car possible. just can't make it. Two Ferraris battling tooth and nail. At the end of the day, you're looking for racing, and this is what you get. Does not matter the position. You're here to have racing. You're here to have fun. Simon Dodd looks to be making that move this time. They come together. Might be on Simon Dodd there. We're not sure. And that's unfortunately Pedero losing out there. May have to see a replay of that as they come in. Oh, I don't know. I think that I might have to retract myself there. I think Pedero just took the corner like Dodd was not there. There he goes. Off onto the grass. That is a shame, but Simon Dodd will take that P7. Just not the way he thought it would be at the end of the day. Such a shame. 2 minutes 50 remaining. But the key number is lap 49 of 51. And these two have started to turn the screw. They're both in 6th gear now. They are both battling away. Campbell trying to find ways to get around Copa. Can he? Will he? Anything can happen. We've still got a couple of laps left in the race. Campbell needs to get a good run. Like a lot of these overtakes that these two have made today, it's out of turn 5 to the run down to turn 7. That is where they've been setting themselves up for the overtake. But at the moment, it's just not happening. Now, it'd be interesting to see what time is left on the clock when they cross the line here. Remember, they've been doing 27s. They've been doing nothing but 27s all race. Do you know what? Simon Dodd's is in the pits, by the way. It would not surprise me if Simon Dodd's been forced to take a drive-through for what he did. Might have had an incident limit drive-through there, and I think that is it. I think that's what's happened to Simon Dodd. So Madero does get that position back. Now, Campbell inside. He taps Copa! He taps Copa! It's happened! It has happened! And Copa goes down to P3! I said we didn't want it! And you can see Campbell is letting Fabian by. He's waiting for his teammate. He's going to give that position back. And it was hard racing by the teammates. It was hard, fair racing. Racing incident at the end of the day, you've got to think. Hard racing by both drivers. Fabian goes by. Is Sean going to let Oscar by? Or was he going to, and then Oscar told him, don't worry. I think as well at the same time, Sean's probably thinking about, if I get ahead of Oscar, I've gained 10 points by accident. Does he want that? Does he want to keep it fair? We'll wait and see. Fabian has the lead, though, for the final lap of the race. 25 seconds left on the clock. It does feel like, to me, it could be a first that a Ford is going to win in the pros. We'll wait and see. The white flag will be coming down. 7, 6, 5. There's 4 seconds left on the clock. They got to go around again. Here we go. Timer has expired. Fabian is holding on to a 8/10 lead over Sean Campbell. Surely he can't lose it this time by. In fact, Sean Campbell had an invalid lap last lap. No idea what's happened there. This could be huge implications because does he have a time penalty? Has he hit the incident limit? We'll wait and see afterwards. Fabian continues on. Gap is now 1.2. Into the Klein chicane he goes for the final time. And now it's all clear. He's still got the time. Holding on down into turn 7. Looking very safe and sound. He gets by. Around the final part of the turn 7. And now down that long, mini long straight. Turn 8. I will never try to pronounce that name or that corner. I apologise. Jochen Rit. He's held that lead over Sean Campbell. And we said to the RSR boys, let's hope they don't do a BMW in Formula E. Unfortunately, they've done it. Fabian Scheiseg will take the race at Zolder. It's a first for the Ford driver. And what a win that is. In fact, he let Andrew Madel go by. Andrew Madel goes by, so he doesn't have to do another lap. Madel will get P2 in the amateurs. But there is your 1, 2, and 3. Now, it looks to me like Campbell may have a time penalty. We'll keep eyes on that. But Stuart Reynolds has... well, it didn't look like Stuart Reynolds was going to win the race, if I was brutally honest. 15 minutes ago, I would have said that it was all Thomas Reuters to lose, and unfortunately, it was. He had to take a pit stop. We're not sure what the pit stop was for. But Reynolds will come home and win in the Audi. Twisted Racing gets a winner, and Stuart Reynolds will win in the Pro-Ams. There he goes. It's a long start-finish straight. There's Michael Patterman, by the way. He doesn't need to do a lot, really. Does not need to do a lot anymore. Everybody else in the amateurs has finished. Daniel Sedgwick gets that P2, by the way. Very well-deserved P2. And Marshalkoverd gets a very well-deserved P3. And for Thomas Reiter, he'll come across the line very shortly. What could have been. But here's one of the last men to cross the line. It's going to be Michael Patterman. He will take that pro victory. The amateur victory. He wishes it was a pro victory. He will take the victory. And as I was expecting, Sean Campbell did get a time penalty. He had the incident limit. He had to take a drive-through. There was no time left to take a drive-through. He gets relegated to P3. There it is. A 40-second penalty for Sean Campbell. Means that Fabian Scheiseg does take the win still. Oscar Cooper will take that P2 away from Sean Campbell. James Armstrong was 4th, and Yanis Albert was 5th. For the Pro-Ams, what could have been, but Stuart Reynolds does take the win. Daniel Sedgwick comes home in P2, and Mitchell Marshalkoverd will come home in P3. Thomas Reiter, he had the victory, but just finishes in P4, and Ethan Bass will come home in 5th. Alvin Kelberg 6th, and Harry Wills will take 7th. In the amateurs, it was domination from Michael Patterman. He was challenged by Andrew Madel for a lot of the race. Andrew just decided to finish early instead of battle on. There was about 3-second gap between them. He takes P2. Juan Malquera will take 3rd. That's big for the championship. Then Van der Broek will be 4th. Dean Timms 5th. Werner S 6th. Angel Badero will be 7th. Simon Dodd 8th. And Michael Fowler retired 10 laps down. Wow. We'll have to work out. We'll have to see if we can find out what happens in that little battle there. Very interesting. I was very confused what was going to happen there. I'm going to see if anyone does have anything to say about that, but it looks like nobody does. So, well, we're just going to see if anyone is going to say hello quickly, but I doubt they will. Just to let you know, next week will be Daytona. I think everyone's looking out for Daytona. That's going to be a good one. It's always been good in the GT3s. The World Series, it has done so well, has Daytona. Fantastic combination there, GT3s and Daytona. It sounds like it's a snooze fest. But when you're thinking about fuel strategy, you're thinking about the battles, it is all to play for. So let's bring in Michael Patterman here, because for Michael, once again, congratulations on, I need to count because I've lost count now. 1, 2, your 4th victory.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
It looked like at one stage you were getting you were being challenged there from Andrew Madel.
Yeah, congratulations to Madel, because his car was really so strong. I have no clue why he's always catching me on the straight. I will ask him afterwards which wing he used. Also, congratulations to Juan. And yeah, I'm really happy about the win, because last race I got a penalty. Sorry for that one, maybe. Yeah, so I see it's also working without any stuff today.
So tell me, did you have much experience with Zolder? Because as I was saying, we don't get Zolder a lot in iRacing. So Was it a track you weren't used to? Because it looked like you were pretty comfortable out there.
No, I guess we started for practice on Sunday or so, but I love the small tracks, the fast tracks. So the longest track like Spa is maybe a little bit too boring for me, but this one I love this left, right, and I only hate the curbs. They kill your cars if you don't be aware of that. So no, it's a really good track. So yeah.
So you take a 10-point lead into Daytona. So we go from narrow track to big track, and there's no curbs at the bus stop to kill you. Yeah. I'm guessing you're going to look forward to that because I'm going to guess you drove the Lamborghini at Daytona 24, so it's still in your mind.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's going to be fantastic. So hopefully we get to see the same for you, I'm hoping, yes?
Yeah, let's see.
Well, Michael, thank you for coming in and congratulations on the win. Do you have any shout-outs before we let you go for the night?
At the moment, not. I'm completely sweating and completely happy with the win, so my brain is completely working with what will be the next one, and I hope Marl will not so fast next time.
Well, I'll let you go dry off and probably have a shower to get yourself cleaned up after a long session. But Michael, congratulations on the victory. We look forward to see you next week and have a good evening.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Bye. Thanks for the stream.
And that is our amateur winner there in Michael Patterman, who will take a 10-point lead into the championship for round 8, sorry, because round 8, like I said, is Daytona next week. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us tonight. It's been fantastic just to see, Zolder again. Always a fantastic track to see, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you did like what you see, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell to be told when we schedule another live broadcast. Later on tonight, of course, is the Americas series, also at Zolder. So if it was good here with the Europeans, just imagine what it's going to be with that very competitive Americas series. So that will be very good. Shout out, of course, to Race Anywhere for sponsoring the series, and, of course, the other sponsor, Sim3D. And, of course, a shout out to Steve for doing the camera work once again. He loves Zolder. So do I. So we were both in our elements tonight. It was fantastic. So for myself, Craig King, and Steve Proudly, thank you very much once again from Absolute Sim Racing. We look forward to seeing you next week for Daytona. Until then, have a good evening and a good night, and we look forward to seeing you next week.